Alicia, and I am the host of I Am More Than Enough, period. But today we are on Lunchtime Connection, Stronger Than the Storm, where I talk to real women and they share this story. Today's guest, she's amazing woman, and her name is Lainey. Lainey, please introduce yourself and tell your story.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show, Alicia. My name is Laney Hauser, and I am a uh, relationship life coach, and I help women really create deep connection with themselves first and then others second. For 20 years, I was an eating disorder specialist. I was an eating disorder therapist. And so I've worked with a lot of women over the last 30 years. And I love, love, love what I do. And I work with women all over the globe. I work with women in Japan and Australia and the United States and just kind of everywhere because of the nature of coaching like I said, I was a mental health therapist for over 20 years. I was licensed and I specialized in trauma and eating disorders. So that brought a lot of very, very interesting clients my way. I've worked with a lot of beautiful souls. And I live in Bend, Oregon. I have 3 grown kids and 3 grandkids. And I absolutely love, love, love my life. But it wasn't always this way. I got married really young. I was just out of college and I didn't really know what to do with myself. So I don't know. The logical thing was to get married. I, I think my kids know better now, but um, so I've been married this is our 39th year married. So a long time, but about 20 years in, my marriage was literally my life was falling apart. And on the outside, Lisa, I looked like I had it all together. I had this
Mhm.
beautiful home. I have 3 kids that are acing school. 2 of my kids were in sports and IB and really doing well. Meanwhile, at home, my life was falling apart. I had a $1 million business. I had a business that brought in over $1 million in revenue every year. And on the outside, I looked like I had it all together. I would meet people all the time. How did you grow this? How did you grow your therapy practice? It's really unusual to have a therapy practice that reaches over 1 million. And so I was working with other therapists, teaching them business skills. I was working my own practice. I had employees. On the outside, it looked really like I had the life, but on the inside, I was dying. I was shattered into a million pieces. Like it was finally got to the point where I just broke. I literally broke. My marriage was really, really, really hard. I I grew up kind of in an abusive family, abusive household. My parents were divorced. My mom remarried. But there was a lot of abuse going on um, in the early years of my life. And so when I got married at 22, uh, I picked someone who had anger issues and did not know how to control his anger. And I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to come home to myself. I just got lost in this myriad of taking care of kids and taking care of everyone else. I was in my 20s and 30s, I was literally like Superwoman, thinking I could do it all. And I did until I burned out, tubed out so bad that I ended up in a treatment facility. So, because I worked with eating disorders, I was familiar with all the treatment centers locally and kind of across the Western United States. And one of them in Edmonds, Washington, called the Center, a place of hope, specializes in depression. And I went there. I thought I was going for a week, and I was in such bad shape, they kept me for a month.
Let me ask you a question. How did you meet your husband?
How did I? We met in college. We
Okay.
were both in a campus ministry and active leaders in the campus ministry. We were at Chico State. And so we got married right after college. Um, yeah, and because I grew up in a home that had so much anger and explosion all over the place and no emotional regulation and just kind of crazy, I didn't know any different when I first got married. And I thought, those early years, Alicia, it was, I thought, if I could just be a better wife. I still have my journal and a journal entry from 6 months into my marriage. I got married in June. This journal entry was in January, the following year. And it says, I was just praying, if I could just be a better wife, then my husband would be kinder. He would not have anger. And um, so the crazy thing about that was I didn't know any different. My mom modeled some of that for me, and I didn't know. And so
That's all
I
you
kept
knew.
on trying and trying and trying and not realizing, like, till 20 years in, wait, this isn't my problem. I actually read a book called Inside the Minds of Angry Men. And, I think it's called Why Does He Do That? Inside the Minds of Angry Men. And they called it abuse. And it was the first time in my life I was like, oh, that's what this is. Okay, that makes sense to me. That's the first thing that made sense. And so I spent a year in a domestic violence support group. So in the middle of this, so I'm figuring out what this is. My life is falling apart. I've got this $1 million business going, super successful. We were the place to call if someone had an eating disorder, especially a woman in their 30s with bulimia. Like, I was the person. You called me and my team, and we could help you. And but the grind of my work and my relationship at home and then trying to take care of my kids and just manage I literally fell apart, like broke apart. So I get to treatment, and it's in the middle of winter. I went right after Christmas, and it's in the middle of January, and literally did not stop crying for 3 weeks, just poured out of me, like all of
Mm.
the energy that was stuck inside of me for those 20 years, just poured, cried and cried and cried. I'd wake up in the middle of the night crying. I mean, it was awful. And at the same time, it was the first time in my life people came around me to care for me. I was the caretaker. I was the one who made everything happen. And so um, I had a team of 10, and they literally loved on me, took care of me, but also helped me reframe some of the things that were happening in my life. And um, I got out. I was there for a month. I thought I'd be there for a week. And I cried so much that the third weekend, Alicia, um, a therapist who wasn't on my team came around the corner. She saw me not crying, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Lainey, it's so good to see that you're not crying." I'm like, yeah. So a lot changed in that month. It was the hardest, best, most beautiful month of my life, and most profound shift for me, because it was like this point that I can mark in my life where I went in one way and I came out another. Um, so
What was the what was the most important lesson you learned there?
So my kids at this point are all like, my oldest daughter, I think, was 22. So it was 22, 20, and then 18 or 19, somewhere. They're all 2 years apart. So, and I have 3 kids. And so the youngest, I think, was 18 or 19, and the oldest was like 22, 23. And it took 10 of them, because I kept saying, but my kids, my kids, my kids. So I'd stayed in my marriage a lot for my kids. And it took all of them saying the same thing. Your kids are grown. They've seen your life. They know that you're not like, your kids are grown. So for me, it was a really important shift of, oh, right. Like, I know it sounds obvious, but when I was in there, it took them all this time for me to understand that my kids were super capable people and they could handle their lives. And so
And you can focus on yourself.
I could focus on myself. Yeah.
Mm.
I could focus and care for myself.
Yeah.
And I could finally kind of see some things clearly. And I knew by the time I got out of there that I could take care of myself, which sounds crazy, but I could. I ended up leaving there, and living in a little condo on the Columbia River. I live in Oregon, and so I lived in the little condo on the Washington side of the Columbia River, and I walked up and down the Columbia River that for about the next 8 months. So I got home. So I wish that was the end of the story. I went to treatment and everything was amazing, and I got home and my business thrived, but it didn't happen that way. I got home from there and moved into a little condo by myself. My kids, some of them were out of the house, and my youngest daughter was getting ready to go off to college, and um, I held on to my business for about 2 more months, and then I just couldn't hold everything together. So I had to let everything go. So I get out of treatment. I go into treatment with this amazing business. Everybody in my office was holding everything together. It ran without me for a month, and then I got back, and I couldn't do it. And I didn't even sell it. I didn't even have the energy to sell it. So I let it go. I helped my therapist get out on their own and start their own practices so that they could be successful. And I shut my doors, and I did not have a plan. I did not have a plan for what I was going to do for work. I did not have a plan for my life at all. I had zero plan. And about, I would say it was the summer. So maybe 3 months after I shut my doors, I realized, I don't have a plan and I don't have any money. And I ended up on food stamps. So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Big
I went
adjustment.
from 7 figures to food stamps, just like that, overnight. And I remember I had a new car. I had gotten in a car accident when I got out of treatment, and so I had this brand new Acura ILX. I didn't know my business was going to fall apart after I got out of treatment, and I got in a car accident. I bought a new car, and so I'm driving up to the food bank in this beautiful new car, and I was so ashamed and so humiliated, but I also knew I needed to eat, and I wasn't divorced, so I didn't have spousal support or any of that, and I wasn't talking to my husband. There was no communication, and so I was like, well, I got to eat. So I went to get food stamps, and that got me through. I'm so grateful. Now I'm at a very different place in my life, and guess where I'm generous to? The food bank. I want to make sure that there's always food there, and I serve there. So it's this, yeah, it was a really difficult time. And I remember walking up to the beginning of the line in the food stamp, and the woman sitting at the table must have known how hard it was. And she looked at me, and she looked in my eyes, and she saw me, and she put her hand on top of mine, and she said, honey, it's going to be okay. I could feel
Mm.
the tears. She just touched my hand and said, it's going to be okay. There are a lot of people here just like you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. It was just this moment of humanity where someone touched. Sorry, it's doesn't matter if I'm in or out. The guys are. Can you hear that? Is that
No. Mm-mm.
okay? Good. I'm glad the mic. So it was this beautiful moment of humanity for me where someone touched me deeply in a very deep way. Here I'm broke. I've got no money, but I have food on my table. And it was one of the most peaceful, beautiful, lovely times as I look back over my life. It was such a time of just simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
I took my clothes with me, and I bought myself a set of dishes so that I could have some stuff that was my own. And that's all I had for months. And my husband and I, we didn't talk. There was zero communication. I thought we were going to get divorced. I was working towards that. I had my lawyer set. I was getting ready for that. But I never reached out to him for money. I didn't want that. And one of my girlfriends said to me, she was like, Lainey, are you gonna start dating? And I was like, oh, hell no, heck no. No, that is not what she said, then what's the rush? Why don't you just let things kind of unfold, kind of see what God does, just let things kind of, and I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. What's the rush? So about 10 months after I got out of treatment. So we're separated for about 11 months, hadn't seen each other. But one thing I did when I was in treatment was I wrote a list to him of the things that he needed to do if ever we were going to get back together. And I just thought there's no way he's not going to ever do these. It's not going to happen. Um, but my youngest daughter was struggling in school. She had gone off to the university and um, she was struggling, and we were parenting very differently. And so I said, hey, I know we haven't talked in all these months, but I I want to be on the same page parenting. It's really important for our kid. And so uh, he was like, okay, let's meet. And so we were meeting for coffee. And he was sitting across the table from me, and I was having coffee with a man that I'd been married to for 24 years. And I had no idea who he was. I'm like, this is a crazy mind blowing thing where I'm married to this man, I have 3 kids with this man, and I have no idea who you are. Like,
Mm.
and it was just mind blowing, but I could see he was different. I could see that he had changed, and I had radically changed. I was radically very different on the inside out. And so we began to talk, and then I said, I see you're different. And he had done a lot of his work. He had gone to therapy. He actually was in a DV group too. And so, which was great. He was so funny. He's like, I was the only one there who wasn't mandated. All these other guys, and all the different things they had done. I said, well, you're
Did
just
you
lucky.
know, did you know that he was going to therapy?
I did not until this
No.
moment that we were talking. Yeah.
So he was working on himself.
He was.
Eh,
And so yeah, the amazing thing that came out of that, he said, I wasn't angry. He goes, I was very, very anxious, and I did not know how to control my anxiety. I did not know how to manage all the anxiety that would come up for me. And so I knew I could have this outburst and it would control things. So anger is an interesting, it's not much different from bulimia, really. It's where you do a behavior, the anxiety builds, 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 right? And so you get this anxiety and then you explode. And then you feel better because you've got this emotional release, all the energy is escaped. And now you feel better, but everyone around you, you've just created this tidal wave around you. And so, and bulimia is kind of similar in that um, your anxiety builds, builds, builds. You don't know what to do with it. So you binge, purge, and you feel better. You've this release of endorphins that is, it's like a morphine hit.
mm.
And so when he understood that it was anxiety driving it, he could come back to his center, he'd kind of come back to himself. And I've watched him do that over the last 12, 13 years as we've grown in our marriage together. And um, yeah, it's been a miraculous thing. We are both, neither one of us are the same people that we used to be.
Right.
And it's been a really, really sweet journey to see how it works. I used to think, oh, we have a communication problem. And now I don't believe in that marriages have communication problems. I believe that they have nervous system problems, and that if both people can manage their internal worlds and create safety for each other,
Hmm.
communication is no problem. It's not a problem because you're seeking to understand, and you're you're both calm in the middle of whatever conversation you're having. And so, yeah.
I
So
believe that with the what you said about the nervous system. Remember, you grew up with that.
I grew up with that, yes. That's what my nervous system knew, yeah.
Yeah.
It's true, and so many women grow up with that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I've worked with my kids because they grew up with that. They grew up with an
Mhm.
angry dad, and all of them are thriving. They're all in their 30s now and, um, turned things around. So, it doesn't really matter where you're at. If you hate your life, you can do something different. You can change your life. That is the beautiful thing I think about um, this life, is that it doesn't matter where you are right now. You can start right now. right here, right now, you can start and create something totally different in your life. I started with a brand new client this morning, and at the end, I wrap things up, kind of saying, your aha appreciation. What's the thing that uh, you're going to take with you through the week? And she's like, uh, my life is going to be radically different in the next 6 months. I'm like, yeah, it will be
Mm.
very, very different. So I was a
You have to
therapist for
speak it. You have to
yeah,
speak it.
speak it. It's
Yes.
true, so true.
Mhm.
So for 30 or for 20 years, 25 years, I was a therapist, and so I had that angle. And then I went into coaching and personal growth and development, and totally different, completely different worlds. And I just I I would always recommend coaching. But pick someone who knows what they're doing, who has a background and can get you through if you do get to a spot where you've got some trauma coming up or something's hampering you, that whoever you're working with is competent enough to get you through to the other side of that. But yeah, it's amazing. I love my life. I travel all over the world. My husband works with a nonprofit, or he's the executive director of a nonprofit that works with refugees all over. So we travel everywhere and um, meet amazing, fantastic, lovely humans all over the globe. And I just, I feel so grateful. It was, to be totally honest, it would have been easier to get divorced. Like in so many ways, it just would have been like, all right, start with a clean slate, move on, do something completely different. Um, but I am so grateful that I chose this path. One, for my own personal growth and development. I've had to continually work on the things that get me. I've worked with women who have gotten divorced multiple times, and I've worked with women who've decided to stay. I've worked with both ends of the spectrum, and there's not a right or a wrong. It's just a different path. But I will say, there's this growth aspect that you have to, if you're going to stay in relationship, especially one that was as dysfunctional as mine, that to sustain it, we both had to be radically different. But I think for me, it started with me. Like I don't expect him to change. I don't have any expectations of him being something different. I just know that I need to respond different. I need to be different. I need to choose the path of being different for me, not for him, not for my relationship, but for me. So, yeah, I know your podcast is about women starting over. And sometimes I feel like I start over a lot all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm starting over.
But that's
Um,
okay. That's
yeah,
okay. That's
yeah.
the great thing about life. You can start over at any age.
At any age, at any time. I'm
Hmm.
60. I turned 60 this year. So there's this, it's like, okay, what's next for me? What's new? I love what I do so much. I get to work with such amazing women who really want their lives to be different. It's just, to me, I think the most amazing thing about my life and the women I work with and the women I know is that kind of, this, even for your own life and how you've had to start over. It's just this, this beautiful path of, I get to choose, but it's in here. I have to work so hard in here. The work is in here. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The work is it's all here. Whether you're working on, your relationships or food or money or your business, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's all up here. And to get yourself and be able to come back to center and to come back to yourself and to come back home to a place is safe, and that's here. You create your own safety. So, basil, no, thank you. Um, so for me, that was my work. My work was creating safety here, not out here. Not looking to someone else to create safety for me, not asking my husband to create safety for me. Although I'd ask him to create safety for me. There's a lot of things I won't tolerate anymore that I did when I was younger. But in here, creating that space for myself to be safe so that I'm the safest person and I can always come
Right.
home to me and know that it's all going to be okay, So
Let me ask you something. What what would you tell young Lainey now?
I would tell her, you do not have to live that way.
Yeah.
So I had a mentor that I had for 20 years. She died at 89, probably about 10 years ago now. And she said to me, she said, "Oh, when Norman and I got married, he raised his voice at me." And here, I don't know how she knew this. She was like 23, but she walked over to him and she put her finger on his lips and said, "Oh, oh no. Never speak to me that way. Never raise your voice at me." That's what I would tell younger Lainey. Do you want to go inside? What's the deal? Go on. All right. Hold on just a second, Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, my door's stuck. There you go. Go on. Go, go, go. Go, go. So I would tell my younger self, you can stand up for yourself. It's safe. You be the safety. You be the one who says what you will and won't tolerate in your relationship. And had I known that, that's exactly what I would have done the first time he raised his voice. I would have, instead of cowering and being afraid and shutting down, I would have, "Oh no, this is not how you treat me. This is not what we're going to do in this relationship."
You have to
My
lay
life,
the foundation.
yes, I would have laid the foundation as a 22-year-old, as a really young woman, but I didn't know. And so, you know, the great thing is I lay the foundation now.
Yeah,
I never get a voice raised to me. I just, it doesn't happen anymore. I don't tolerate it. And
that's right.
when I came back into relationship and early on, there was one point where he raised his voice and I said, "Oh, no, I can't do that anymore. I'm not going to tolerate that in my life." And he looked at me and he's like, "I'm never allowed to be angry. I have emotion too." I said, "Oh, you can be angry all that you want, honey. Like that is you. I'm not going to control what goes on inside of you. That's your business. However, I am never going to be you're never going to be angry around me. I'm either going to walk away, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to go somewhere else, I'm going to do, but I will never, ever again, from this moment on, be in the presence of anger." And he was like, "Okay, noted."
And
And
that's
so
it.
now he's like, if he's angry or something comes up for him, he goes on a walk, goes on a drive. I mean, he just does something else other than
Right.
tell me about it. So great. You can be angry all you want, just not with
Right.
me. Go be angry. Go ahead. But just my nervous system can't tolerate it. I don't want that in my life. And I
Hmm.
have certain, you know, standards for myself. And so that is one of them. I just, no anger, zero tolerance. And I had to retrain my kids because they learned pretty well from their daddy that they could treat me
Hmm.
like poop.
Hmm.
And so I had to retrain them. "Oh no, we're not going to talk to mom that way. And we're going to be kind to mom." And so it was a work all the way around for me. It wasn't just working on me. It was, I mean, all of that was me, right? All of that was me working on me and then um, teaching my kids from here, saying, "Oh no, we're not going to do that." And
You
they
have
were
to teach you
grateful.
have to teach people how to treat you.
You teach people how to treat you.
Yeah.
100%. You create your life. So I am a firm believer, and I spent years being a victim. So poor me, right? But I firmly believe we create our lives. So in the place of, if you're creating your life, there's no room for you to be a victim because you're creating it. So whatever it is, you're designing it. So if something goes south or something goes weird or wonky in my life, I'm like, okay, what did I do? How did I create that? Because I believe that I create everything in my life. So now I ask myself, instead of being the victim and like, "Oh, woe's me," and like, "How did that happen? And why me?" And blah, blah, blah. I go, "Oh, okay. What did I do to make that happen? How did I create that? What kind of
Mhm.
scenario was I looking for? And how did that serve me?" And from that place, I can create something new. Okay. Yeah, I can see how I did that. Or how I said that. Maybe I didn't say that quite in the tone that I wanted, or there's tons of different things that we can learn from creating your own life, really pulling yourself into your best future self, into your best self. So yeah, I live an awesome life. I never would have guessed that I would be here in this place doing so, living like night and day from what I was living in my earlier life. It's really great. And to any
Right.
woman who's listening, or a man who's listening, you absolutely have the power to create something brand new starting right now as you're listening and hearing. And um, yeah, it's beautiful.
So who is
Resiliency, right?
Lainey today? Who is Lainey today?
She is a confident, brave, lovely human who is kind and loves people and helps
And you
women
can
grow
tell.
into all the things that she wants to be, all the things that God has for her, and just becoming, yeah, confident, brave, resilient. Yeah. So the other thing, I mean, I don't talk about this a lot, but I have an autoimmune disease. I have ulcerative colitis, which is in some people's minds, it's horrible. In my mind, it's horrible. I mean, but I think, it's taught me a lot over the years about resiliency and coming back. And I've had it for 34 years. And, I have flare ups and I've refused some of the more modern um, pharmaceuticals because I've had it so long. I'm like, well, okay, this is diet and it's a lot more complicated than just handing me a pharmaceutical. So, but one of the things that I tell myself is every single cell in my body is healthy and wealthy and wise, and every
Mhm.
single cell is healing, and every single thing in my body constantly loves to heal. And God is moving through me, and I have abundance. And so I talk to myself like that all day long.
I love it.
I
I
am
love
healthy and
it.
wealthy and wise.
Louise Hay.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
we talk to ourselves, well, we can talk to ourselves so negatively, that
Yeah.
we don't even realize some of the stuff that we say to ourselves is so heavy and hard, we don't. So I've really made it a practice to practice all the I am healthy. Every cell in my body is healthy and is creating health, and health creates more health, and abundance creates more abundance. And, this life is good and beautiful, and I choose my path, and I love the path that I choose.
Mhm.
So I manage my mind. That is the work. That is the work of any single one thing that you have in your life is managing your mind.
Mind.
So
So what is next for you?
next for me, well, I am working on a program. I'm working on a group program. I have a pretty full load of private clients, and I realize I need to expand a little bit and create a community for women who don't love their marriage. Doesn't necessarily have to be as hard as mine, but you just like, oh, I want to create a different marriage for myself. I want to create a different thing for myself. So um, I'm creating a group space, a program space. As I don't really love the word program, but I'm creating a community for women to have a safe space so that they can learn how to create their own safety within in the safety of this space and coach them through that. So that's my next thing coming up. I just wrote a journal. It's more like a workbook. It's not really a journal. It's kind of a cross between a journal and a workbook called Steady Heart, and it is a journal for women in marriages. I say difficult marriages, but if you don't love your marriage, it's for you. It's a journal where you learn how to come home to yourself. Like you learn what's yours and what's his and what's ours together. You kind of coach yourself through it in this. It's a 30-day journal thing. So I just finished that about 6 weeks ago. And so yeah, and the next thing I'm going to Hawaii in a few weeks for a vacation. So that's fun.
Nice. Is the
And then
journal on Amazon?
it's not, you know what? It's on my website.
Okay.
LaneyHauser.com, LANEYHOUSER.com. Yeah. It's on my I have not got to the place where I put it on Amazon quite yet, but it will be on Amazon. That's the next
Uh,
place. Yeah. I'm
and
actually working on
let
getting it printed. Right now it's just in PDF form, and I'm working on having it physically printed. So my daughter owns a business that is product based, and so she's helping me get it in print. So that's
Nice.
exciting. Yeah.
So the group that you are creating, is that just for women or for couples?
Just for women. No, I
Nice.
do not work with couples. I did for many years in my private practice, but I do not work with couples. I don't even, I'm going to say this out loud. I don't even believe in couples therapy.
Mhm.
It has abysmal rates of working. I think 40% of couples who go to therapy end up divorced in the next 2 to 3 years, anyway. So, um, but you have the power as a woman to absolutely change your marriage with or without your spouse. Um,
Okay.
and I work with women every single day who really didn't like their marriage and were kind of at a crossroads thinking, should I stay? Should I go? And I would say 80%, I'd have to go back and look at my stats, but 80% of them, probably higher, 90% of them stay in their marriage because they're different, because they've changed, because they've become a woman they know that they can be safe. I'll tell them, I said, okay, you can get divorced. I mean, that's always an option. There's no right or wrong, right? I mean, as far as that goes, like you can make decisions to stay or to go. Most women want to stay. They've got their kids and they're looking at their lives and their future and their grandkids, and it's complicated going to all different houses. So most women choose to stay because now they're safe in their own bodies and they're safe to speak up, and they I teach them how to safely be themselves, because when you're fully alive to yourself, honestly, you don't give a crap what your husband's doing. I mean, within bounds. I mean, obviously,
Right, of course,
abusing
of
you
course.
or having affairs or,
Right.
drinking himself to death or, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a relationship that just feels hard and just feels like we're not connected and my relationship was more than hard. It was definitely abusive. I definitely spent a whole year in a domestic violence group. So
Mhm.
there's hope for you. It doesn't matter where your relationship is, but you have to do the work. You have to do the change. Otherwise, you're just going to go out and you're going to find the same guy and he's wearing a different pair of pants. That's it.
You're
You
right.
know?
You're right.
So, so it's coming back to you. And so I work one-on-one with women. I'm creating this group so that women have a safe space that will launch probably October or in the fall. And then I've got a workbook. Um, you can get started in that. I mean, honestly, like I'm just a person. So email me, text me,
Right.
send me a DM. I'm on, Laney Hauser is my Instagram handle. DM me. Like I'm just a person. So reach out.
Yeah.
If you need help, reach out. Don't stay stuck. Do not stay stuck. The only thing that is not acceptable in this life is to stay stuck, right? Just don't do it. You don't
There's
have
help
to.
out there.
There's help out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's help out there. Yep. And lots of women who have been through incredible things and changed their lives and rearranged their lives. So I have worked with some amazing clients who have come to me and like, this is my last ditch effort. If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, oh, it'll work. It'll work.
Mhm.
It works. If
Yeah.
you're willing to work, it works. The process works. The process I take my client, it works. Your life will be different.
Right.
So that's
Do you
great. I
do
love
in
it.
person? Do you do in person
On the phone. I don't
on
even
the
do
phone?
Zooms. On the phone. So I travel all over. You asked what's next. In
Mm-hmm.
October, I'm going to Paris, uh, Turkey. We do a lot of work in Turkey. So I've been there a lot of times. So I'm going back to Turkey with some colleagues, and then I'll be in a place called Turkmenistan, which is kind of like North Korea, except for not quite as harsh, but it's very, very, very closed. And so we're taking a trip there to see some of the things that some of the people we work with. There's refugees that come out of Turkmenistan, and so we want to kind of see where they're from. So that's what I do. I travel around the world, and we're going to Vietnam in January, and then Scotland in February, and so I do a lot of travel. So all my work is on the phone. I never skip a beat. I'll get up in the middle of the
Okay.
night and work with my clients. But the phone is a beautiful thing. It's very, very focused. It's great. Do it from anywhere, and you don't have to look good.
I like that.
It's true.
So, Lainey, thank you for coming on. You were
Yes, thank
such
you for
a
having me.
pleasure, and you are just so much fun. Your energy is so inviting.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I love this.
So,
Was fun. Thank you for letting me share my story. It's
of
fun.
course, share your social media handles.
So my Instagram is Laney Hauser at Laney Hauser, LANEYHOUSER. And my Facebook is Laney Hauser. My Facebook, I think, oh guys, it might be Laney B Hauser. About 3 years ago, I lost all of my social media. Someone hacked into my account and they all got shut
Oh
down.
no.
So I started all over. And so Laney B, letter B, Hauser, I think is my Facebook. So yeah,
Let's look it up now.
it's either Laney, I think it's Laney B Hauser. Look at this girl go.
No, it's just Lainey Hauser. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, Laney
Yeah.
Hauser. Okay. Yeah. So find me. I'm just a person like you, walking the path,
Yeah.
doing the
She's so,
thing.
I'm telling you, she is so inviting. And listen, if you need help in your relationship or just you, hit contact her, Lainey Hauser.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And to
Oh,
all who are listening or have listened, thank you. Thank you for listening to my story. And yeah, I'm just sending so much love to all of you, everyone who
yeah,
ever
that's so
is listening
sweet.
now and listened before and are going to listen. So much love.
Well, thank you everyone for coming on, listening to another amazing woman. Um, if you are looking for community, a sisterhood, you want to be inspired, please come on Royal. Oh my gosh, it just slipped my mind. Ooh, it slipped my mind. Ooh, 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 ooh. But I'll put it in the
Yeah, put a
description.
link in. Put
I
drop a
will.
link.
I
Drop a link.
know. It just slipped my mind. My gosh. Anyway, Lainey, take care.
Thank
Enjoy your
you. Thank you for
beautiful
having me.
family and keep being you because
Thank
you
you.
are a light.
Thank you so much.
You're
All
welcome.
right. All right.
But wait.
Oh,
Oh, I finally got it. Oh my God. It's Royal Rooted and Rising. If you're looking for a sisterhood, community, inspiration, motivation, if you're looking for um, support, join the group Royal Rooted and Rising on Facebook. I'm one of
love
the
it.
co-founders. Okay,
Thank
take care,
you.
everyone. You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.